Hey everybody, it's Stacie Duffy here, your Denver Metro real estate resource, and I've done a Denver market update a few years ago, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And I mentioned in that video I don't typically like to do market updates because they get really dated and there's a lot of strong opinions, but a couple things I wanted to talk about in our current market as far as maybe some reasons it's gotten so crazy and what it currently looks like, and just to give some data behind it. So as far as the Denver metro market here, it's February or March. Oh, we're into March of 2021, and nuts doesn't even begin to describe it. Like, I used to describe it as, medieval bloodbath as far as people fighting each other for houses, and I think we've upgraded from that even, which is hard to believe. But February of this year, since I'm going, the month of February closed, so now that we're into March. February of 2021 versus February of 2020. So last year, everything about COVID was just kind of ramping up here in the US and people were starting to be nervous about it, but we didn't really know what it was and things hadn't shut down yet. And it was just like, we don't really know what's going to happen. So it's not like everybody was like, man, great time to move, right? A lot of people were staying put even then. Now, for the Denver Metro, just to give you an idea, there is almost 62%, so over 60% less houses for sale in the month of February this year than there was last year. So, everyone's like, man, it's so hard to buy a house right now. Yeah, there's nothing to buy. Nothing to buy. And last year was tight. And it's been tight for a long time, but it's been getting tighter and tighter as far as our inventory goes. So there's a lot of different things that can tie into that, and I've been doing a lot of reading and, the information our brokerage provides to us and some statistics and things like that. And I wanted to go through some of those things with y'all. So given absolutely low inventory, there's some reasons for that I'll talk about. And then there's another reason that a lot of buyers are in the market, right? So everyone's been, and I'm just going to touch on this real quick just to clear the air, because everyone's been talking about, ever since COVID started, or there was some speculation of it, it's like, oh man, we can't go anywhere, people are going to lose their jobs, and a lot of people have, right? However, there's been a lot of policy that has helped people stay in their homes. So less incentive programs for people buying houses, more incentives and assistance, I'll say not incentive, but assistance for people that have a home that can't afford to stay in it because of COVID or economic impact or something like that. So everyone's been talking about, man, there's going to be all these foreclosures like, back in 2008, and it's just going to flood the market and the prices are going to tank and yada, yada, yada. So, well, it's a year later. That hasn't happened yet. Not saying some sort of market correction won't happen. We're due. But I don't think it's going to be that. I said the same thing in the last video that I had a few years ago of, man, we've had a lot of great appreciation for a few years. We're due for a market correction. We had a slight, not appreciation, but we had a slight correction of, maybe 3 months. It was ridiculously short. And then things have just taken off again, and now even more so. So, and everyone got into my last video about like, oh, you're wrong. Well, okay, that hasn't happened yet. So I'm sure if you say the sky will fall, you say it long enough, it will eventually happen. I'm going to live in the now. A few things I want to talk about because I'm going to ramble here a bit if I don't stay on track. So one, why there's so many buyers in the market, right? Part of that demographic based. A whole lot of millennials are finally hitting the homeowner stride, right? They're having families, they're having kids. Now that they're working from home due to, COVID and other reasons, a lot of people are buying the single family suburban house, that kind of thing, as opposed to renting downtown, living single, whatever. Demographically, people are hitting that time in their life where they are buying property, buying houses for their family, moving up, all those types of things. There's a lot of people hitting that point right now. And a lot of those people are like, man, it's really cheap to borrow money. They don't think it's really cheap because in the grand scheme of things, it's been the rates have been so low for so long now, compared to historical rates, that it's kind of created a skewed perception. So the one time we did have an increase in inventory was when the rates actually went up, roughly a point to still less than, 4.8% or something like that. I'd have to go back and look. So when the rates went up just a little bit, then, that created some more inventory and took some buyers out of the market because, it's expensive. Guys, in the grand scheme of things, that's pretty cheap to borrow large sums of money. But still, sub 3%, I've seen stuff for 2.625, I think, was the lowest that I saw recently. For a 30-year mortgage. That is crazy cheap, guys, to borrow money. And so when you combine those two factors of a whole lot of people that want to, buy a house and now are paying off student loans or are financially able to do so, and the rates are really, really, really cheap, that makes homes much more affordable in the scheme of things. Different issue, not price point, but ability to borrow to get to a higher price point. So that's put a lot of people into the market shopping. So there's our supply side, right? Lots of demand. That's our demand side. Supply side has been our problem. So inventory, older generations have held onto their house a lot longer because it's been affordable to, because they can refi and the rates are cheap and they really liked it. And so the average, home ownership range of 7 to 8 years, these bubbles drive me nuts when I'm filming. I gotta turn my screensaver off. Has extended for a lot of, the older generation up to 15, 17, 20 years. So they're not moving as often. So that's part of it. The other part is because it's been so affordable to hold on to property, a lot of people are not selling. If, their move up, let's say they have a 2-bedroom condo and they're going to buy a single family house because they want some more space, they can afford to keep the condo in either Airbnb, long-term rental, short-term rental, something of the sort. Because they're able to affordably hold on to that property and then, invest, be an investor and have some rental and some passive income. The Airbnb being another whole portion of why people are holding on to property. Or, having a larger property that they don't necessarily need, that they normally wouldn't spend the money on, but they can have some supplemental income, house hacking, all those types of things. A lot of those are much more popular now than they have been in the past. So that is also contributed to our severely diminished inventory. Right now, at least in the Denver metro, a lot of our current inventory, and I think this is probably the case for a lot of the hot markets in the US, but a lot of our inventory problem stems from, man, I'd love to move, I'd love to buy something else, but I'll link to my other video about this, is I don't want to sell my house because 1, it's going to sell so fast, I don't know where I'm going to live. 2, if I can find what I want, because there's not much to pick from right now, there's not much inventory, if I can find what I want, I don't know if I can compete high enough to get it because I don't know what crazy price I'm going to have to pay. And 3, I don't want to have to settle. Like, if I'm going to move out of this house and get, what I really want, I want to make sure it's what I really want. And it takes too long to find that particular house because there's no inventory to pick from. So a lot of people that normally would be selling their house and buying something else just aren't moving. And so between all these people wanting to buy and there not being much to pick from, that's created the situation that we're in. The other piece of that is builders, right? So great option right now if you're not as picky on location and you want a new, pretty, updated house. Guys, go pick one off the shelf. It's like going to the grocery store. So that's another option. However, builders got hit so hard back in 2008. And that wasn't a housing crisis in 2008. We had houses. That was a financial or mortgage industry crisis that happened. We're in a different situation right now. And a lot of people are like, oh man, history's going to repeat itself. Guys, okay, different situation. Not saying the market won't adjust, but not for the same reasons at least, and certainly probably not to that extreme. So, but builders got hit so hard in that it took them a long time to recover. 1, financially, and the insurance companies that back them had a lot of issues, at least here in the Denver metro. That's why we don't have condos for a long period of time. I don't think I've done a video on construction defects that has gotten better. But if you can't find an affordable condo here. Alrighty, my video cut off, so I'm going to put this together with the other one. I've been shooting a lot of videos, so I think my phone's out of storage. So with construction defects, we don't really have a lot of condos available. Anyway, the builders got hit really hard back in 2008 and that whole financial crisis. And so they're just now getting back to the point of ramping back up. They're definitely not at capacity that they were back then as far as the speed that they're building and those types of things. And also construction material costs have increased and they're having a hard time keeping up with COVID and everything else, but they're not producing as fast as they were. So between all of those things, we have all of this demand and extremely diminished supply. So here in the Denver metro, if you want to get to a balanced market as far as available homes, you have to go up to the $3 million price point, which is ridiculous. But million, even $2 million homes are selling in an extreme seller's market condition. So anyway, it's kind of crazy right now. Obviously, if you're out there trying to buy, I feel for you. I have buyer clients. I have seller clients. I'm fortunate enough to be in a position right now where I have more seller clients than buyers, but some of those are selling and buying a new build and doing some of those other things. And some of them are buying and keeping onto their properties to rent out and doing lots of other things like that. So anyway, just wanted to kind of shed some light on what I've been reading, some of the stats, just some of the reasons that things are just absolutely crazy right now, and just my thoughts on that. So anyway, if you have any questions or thoughts about this, I'm sure people always do. On the market update videos, there's always strong opinions, and that's fine. I'm always curious to see what people think. Feel free to post those down below. If you're liking my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're looking to buy or sell here in the Denver metro area, you can reach out to me directly. My contact information is on my website. The link for that is down below. So anyway, thanks so much for the time, and have a great day.